Yo, welcome back for another video. Lately I've gotten a lot of questions on how to be a better player in Apex Legends. So today I'll be giving you 5 tips that will make you go from 0 to hero if you follow and practice these tips. If you watch the entire video, I almost guarantee you will become a better legend because of it. If you have any questions about any of these tips, feel free to jump into my stream on Twitch. I'm live every day, link down in the description below. Also, follow my other social media to stay connected with me. Links also in the description below. Now let's get into it. The first tip I'm going to go over is your landing. You need to get your landing right. One of the things I see bad players do a lot is they have inconsistent landing spots. They land all the time, everywhere, with no knowledge of what the loot is like, and that's just a problem. I try to land in the same spot every single time. What this does is it allows me to know the layout of the area and know the loot. It essentially takes away the factor of, will I get a gun? Will there be stuff here? Is there enough loot? Now this can get messed up. One of the things that can happen is players could get grouped up with other teams that would also land where they landed. So you also need to have a backup plan, or you just need to be better than the other team. But sometimes that doesn't happen. So don't be afraid to get out if you can and loot another building, and then go back to challenge a team that landed with you. So find a good place to land and land there consistently. Find a place that you're comfortable with, familiarize yourself with it, and get proficient at looting that area. The second tip I want to mention is to rotate. Rotations in this map are a little harder than King's Canyon. If you rotate late, you're going to get caught in the zone a lot easier because the map is just so much bigger. One of the big things teams need to do, and players like you might need to do to get better, is to rotate earlier and decide how you're going to take on engagements. This allows you enough time to fight without the pressure of getting caught in the ring or having the ring at your back. Circles and rotations become a huge part of high level play. Rotations are extremely valuable. Every time I land and where I want to go after that is planned ahead and is decisive. Most players don't think at this level and they're just kind of lost or unsure on where to go. One thing is for certain is that if you're indecisive about where you're landing, if you're indecisive about where you're rotating, and you're indecisive about your team communication, you're going to have bad results. Do not hesitate. Make a decision and stick with it. If you're too indecisive about whether you're going to stay or follow your team, and you get caught somewhere in the middle, your team is going to break down and you guys are most likely going to go back to the lobby. Cut hesitation out of your game, be more decisive, and you will be a better player, I promise. Third tip I want to talk about is positioning and fighting. Some of this may seem kind of obvious, but you'd be surprised how many times I see players fail to do some of these. I wanted to make sure I touched on this in this video because I feel like it has a lot of good information, and I wanted to make sure I covered some of the basics for newer and advanced players. The first thing is high ground. High ground value exists in all first-person shooters, and for Apex even more so, especially in World's Edge because of the verticality of it. There's a lot of valleys and tall buildings that players can be positioned at. You should always prioritize high ground when you can. You have a distinct advantage over your opponent, and it's not only great to escape from fights, but it's also great to see where people are rotating to, which is important. Late game, the ring is your friend. Use it to your advantage. Use the ring as a wall with it at your back. That way you only have your forefront to focus on, because odds are there's no one going to be behind you because of the ring. You can also use this the other way around with a technique called gatekeeping, where your team sits on the edge of the zone, allowing the ring to essentially force the enemy team to run away from the ring right into your team, which makes for an easy advantage because you can take the fight on your terms, not theirs. Reloading. Reloading behind cover is one of the key things good players do. You should always make sure your weapons are completely reloaded before you take on another engagement. It's the worst feeling in the world to switch to a weapon in the middle of a fight and have it not be reloaded. You want to reload behind cover to avoid unnecessary damage, so you're at full health when you're ready to peek back out and apply pressure. Another tactic is weapon swapping. So basically, if you weaken an enemy, you want to swap over to your other weapon so they're not able to run away and heal. This allows you to quickly knock someone and take them out of the fight. Stock attachments help with your weapon swapping speed. The higher the level of the stock, the quicker the swap speed. Crouching and jumping during fights is another thing that will make you a harder target to hit. You can also slide, which allows you to gain extra distance to get around corners and cover ground quicker. Focus firing is also crucial when it comes to winning team engagements. Try and focus one person as a team to get them down quickly and tip the fight in your favor. The first team that knocks a player usually wins that engagement. Now the fourth tip is complicated for most players, especially in Apex Legends. How to handle your 1v3 situations. I want to first start out by saying 1v3 situations are incredibly difficult and you're not going to win them all, but you can dramatically improve your odds. Also, the more often you're in 1v3 situations, the better you will be at decision making and coming out on top, so don't be afraid. The first, most fundamental part of 1v3s is knowing your loadout. What's your legend? How does your legend work? What weapons do you have? What are the strengths of your weapons? What grenades do you have? Etc. You need to play with purpose. Have a plan. Your loadout should dictate the way you play the game and the way you approach the 1v3 engagement. So play to the strengths of your loadout. It's easy to get caught up in the 1v3, start to panic, and completely overlook the tools that you have at your disposal. You also need to analyze your opponents. What legends do they have? What weapons do they have? Are they sticking together? Are they spread out? What kind of armor do they have? Etc. Put yourself in their position. Try to anticipate their movements or actions and try your best to counter them. If you have high ground, maintain it. Use any cover that you have available to you. Literally any bit of cover is better than no cover at all. It could be a box, it could be a door, it could be a rail, literally anything. Use your grenades if you have them. Force them out of cover and get them to go where you want them to go. Force them to separate or knock down a player, increasing your chances of survival. Lastly, you want to think of 1v3s as 3 1v1s. You never want to fight the whole squad at once, otherwise you get fried. Try your best to fight them one at a time. Use cover, high ground, and your loadout to your advantage. Capitalize on the mistakes of the enemy, force them to make a decision, and punish them for it. Also, don't forget to breathe and stay calm. I know it can be intense, but don't panic. The last thing you need to be a hero is your mentality needs to shift to be a hero. You have to believe that you can do this. Creating the right mindset is the first level of success. You cannot be intimidated to push a team or a player that you think is better than you, or you think you lack the skill that is needed to put up those high kill games. The 10, 15, 20 kill games that you think are unattainable are within your reach, but you need to believe in yourself. You have to have some level of confidence. The confidence comes from putting in the extra time in the firing range, practicing on your shot, working on the basics, and perfecting your craft. All of these things will make you a better player, and if you put the time in, but believe in yourself, you're going to make it happen. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and maybe it will help you with some basics of getting better at Apex. If you found this video informative, or if it helped you in any way, make sure to like and subscribe. Leave your tips to go from 0 to hero in the comments down below so we all can benefit. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Right here, octane on me, coming right here on you.
No way.
He's right here. He's right here on the door. Good
Yeah,
shit,
this
bro. Keep fucking pushing, you losers!